The confirmation battle continues for Judge Brett Kavanaugh. The FBI investigation may be done, but the political battle is anything but over. Also, a Pulitzer Prize winning reporter, a former finance reporter for the New York Times who's been following Donald Trump for decades. He'll join us to talk about the explosive report in his old paper detailing Trump's tax dodges and schemes. Then we will head out to Boston. We're going to check in with the Yankees as they get ready to face the Red Sox in the ALDS. Good evening and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French, and while I'm fired up there with the Yankees starting tomorrow night, the FBI has done anything but calm the nerves for the folks in D.C. They've completed its probe of Judge Kavanaugh, and just like everything else in D.C. these days, both sides strongly disagreeing with how the report was conducted and what it entailed. Take a listen to the Democrats.
It looks to be a product of an incomplete investigation that was limited, perhaps by the White House, I don't know. But the White House certainly blocked access to millions of documents from Judge Kavanaugh's record. I know that.
We had many fears that this was a very limited process that would constrain the FBI from getting all the facts. Having received a thorough briefing on the documents, those fears have been realized.
And that's a polite version. Some others calling it a sham, a cover-up, you name it. Now, of course, Republicans, though, they couldn't disagree more. Take a listen to what Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Senator Lindsey Graham had to say.
None of these last-minute allegations have been corroborated, as is confirmed by the 7th and latest FBI investigation.
I'm confident the FBI did a good job. They were not hindered in any way. I'm more confident than ever that what the committee found is held up and then some. The senators who requested the supplemental FBI background check got what they requested, and I am ready to vote.
But reactions from two other senators maybe even more pivotal. Now, I'm talking about the folks on your screen, Jeff Flake and Susan Collins. They're considered swing votes, and really you can count on one hand the ones that fit that description. Collins says this looked like it was a thorough investigation. I'm talking about what the FBI did in the last week, and Flake says of that he hasn't seen any additional corroborating information that came out in the probe. Neither senator has specifically said which way they will vote, but speculation is rampant that they may now vote yes, although I should mention both have gone back for second readings of the testimony. Now, Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska is another undecided swing vote. She still sits on the fence, and we've also been talking about red state Democrats who are undecided. Heidi Heitkamp of North Dakota, who's got a tough re-election bid on her hands, she's announced she's a hard no. Joe Donnelly of Indiana, also a no. About the only Democrat we don't know that may be on the fence is Joe Manchin of West Virginia, who said he's going to come back tomorrow and read the document for himself. Meantime, big crowds of angry demonstrators, they've been taking to the streets in D.C. to protest Kavanaugh. Now, against this backdrop, and with protests expected to grow in coming days, Senate votes are set to start tomorrow morning. First procedural vote, it should happen before noon. Now, as soon as that's done, assuming there's a majority, it would set a full confirmation vote as early as Saturday afternoon, roughly 2:30. There's been a lot coming at us, all of us, in the last few weeks here, particularly as it relates to the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation. So what I thought I'd do is try as best I can to separate some of the white noise. And when you get rid of some of the political posturing, there's a lot of it from both sides here, Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation comes down to about 4 senators who have not publicly made up their mind. Just showed you who the folks were. Now, to those lawmakers who at least publicly have said they're conflicted, let me argue why this isn't, at least on its merits, that difficult a choice. And I'll give you 4 reasons why, if I, and I'm not, but what if I had to send a vote, why I would cast my vote as no. And I'm going to do it in increasing importance. First, let's start with his record, at least what we know of it. Now, I personally would not disqualify a candidate if he or she didn't share my worldview. I know some lawmakers would, but I believe if they're a qualified jurist here, they deserve a seat on the bench. But this isn't that I don't agree with the judge, which I don't. but I wouldn't be comfortable if we didn't share their opinions and work papers with us, and then, when pressed on those, would lie under oath when questioned. More than 90% of Kavanaugh's paper trail is unknown, and given the uncomfortable discoveries that are coming to light seemingly by the day, that would be a leap I would be unwilling to take. Let's go to number 2. That's his lying. Now, the last count has it as 29, the number of times that Brett Kavanaugh has lied under oath. He lied in his testimony for earlier confirmations. He lied about his role in his actions in the Bush administration. He seemingly lied about not only his drinking in high school and college and his own graphic descriptions that he claimed definitions that everybody knew weren't true as a youth once again, and he did so under oath. Kavanaugh is asking for a lifetime appointment to our highest court. And if we have good reason not to trust him, that's not a minor character flaw when it comes to Supreme Court justice. Let's get to his demeanor. Now, pardon here the choice of words, but a sober judge was not the Mr. Kavanaugh that we saw last week, screaming at senators, baselessly throwing out conspiracy theories, striking a strident partisan tone, and even challenging one female senator if she was a blackout drunk. Is this really one of the final voices to decide societal issues for Americans? Imagine for just one moment if a Kagan or a Sotomayor pulled that same act. Imagine if they did that. Or for that matter, imagine if Clarence Thomas took that tone. Do you really think we'd have the same result here? It was unhinged, and it was disrespectful, and it was not fit for the robe. He does not have the disposition for the job. Now we get to the allegations. I gotta tell you, like most of you, I watched every minute of the testimony of everyone involved here. And I still, for the life of me, cannot understand, with the detailed testimony that she gave, including the timelines when well before Kavanaugh was even her nominee, she named him to others here, why Dr. Ford would be so motivated to lie under oath with threat of perjury. Now, I am not ready to convict Kavanaugh or anyone else in America on the basis of innuendo, but this was not a trial. This was a job interview. And after his last job pitch to the American public, I am in no way comfortable that I'm sure he did not do this, or for that matter, other serious allegations levied against him. What if we give him the job, and then we learn that there was more, and it was true? This sham FBI investigation, it proved nothing. Worse, it gave more oxygen to the belief that there is something, that someone is trying to hide, and they're trying to get this thing to a vote as soon as possible. The more we learn, the less we like. So finally, I pose you a question if you had to vote yes or no. Is Brett Kavanaugh really the best we can do? I, for one, if I had to vote, my vote would again be no. All right, well, when we come back, the Kavanaugh confirmation battle, it could be a huge issue here for voters as they head to the polls in about 5 weeks. But which side will it help? We'll take a look at some new numbers that tell a very interesting story.